Live.
You there?
We're live, guys.
All right.
Yeah, I'm here. We're live. And I'd like to welcome everybody to the Let's Talk Fishing video podcast. My name is Jay Angel, and I'm going to be your podcaster for this evening. Tonight, I have a guy who I just met through a very good friend of mine named Rob Welsh, who is the co-host of the Co-Angler Corner podcast. But Tad lives in South Louisiana, even further south than I live. And, you know, I love it down here, man, with all the speckled trout and bass and redfish. Tad has figured out a way to increase his fish catches by using scent. And he has Crush It gel. And so, Tad, how you doing tonight?
How y'all doing, man? I'm doing great, Jay.
Why don't you tell us how you came to make these scents fit first? Tell us about your background with that, Tad.
Well, like I said, my background is it's pretty long. So I grew up in a little small fishing town out of Lafitte, Louisiana. Like I said, my dad was a commercial fisherman. So, you know, my dad fished, you know, he was a shrimper in the summertime, and a lot of times during the wintertime, he fished catfish, drumfish, you know, even redfish and speckled trout back then when it was, you know, legal to fish. So at a really young age, I learned all about what fish like to eat, with, you know, with scent, with bait and stuff like that, you know, at a young age. And my grandfather was a sport fisherman. So, like I said, I got the best of both worlds. I learned how to find fish. I learned how to pattern fish. You know, I learned where fish are going to be at in certain times of the year, at what part of time of the year, where they're going to be at from my dad. And then my grandpa, you know, he just helped me refine my skills as far as catching fish on a rod and reel. You know, you put those two together, man, it was a dangerous combination.
You've already got, man. Okay, Ted, we already have our first comment here. It's Pete Chesser. He said,
Yes.
Ask him who taught him how to saltwater fish. Also, my cousin still owes me a seat for my bass boat.
Yeah, I borrowed my cousin's bass boat that was a long time ago. He had a little Blazer VLX 125, I think, and I actually lost his back seat. It flew out.
Man, stuff happens, but that's still funny, you know.
But he's another one. That's my him and I had the same grandpa. So
okay.
The guy you're talking to is probably one of the best saltwater fishermen that I know.
Wow, Pete, that's awesome. That's quite an endorsement. That's quite an endorsement, man. I don't have 50 years of saltwater fishing like I do freshwater fishing, but man, I'm going to make that up.
It was funny, you know. It was kind of funny when Pete was younger, you know, when he had his he was all in the bass fishing, right? And
yes.
Next thing you know, he kind of went, he went from bass fishing, then he fell in love with saltwater fishing, you know, and, you know, I could never leave the bass fishing, you know, I just loved it too much, you know.
Yeah.
I just like the challenge.
Oh, yeah, man. I've been invited to go and fish on Sam Rayburn with a lady who fishes it professionally. You know, she lives right on Sam Rayburn, and she fishes probably 20 tournaments a year out there in that part of Texas. And I cannot wait to fish with her. In fact, I'm going to be bringing some Crush It gel to put on her.
Oh, yeah. That's going to
put on
really
our
well on
Rayburn.
I'm sold a lot up that way, and I got a lot of good reports back on guys using it on Raven. But yeah,
and Pete said saltwater fishing. She said saltwater fishing paid the bills at 19.
Yes, he did. He became a guide at 19 years old. Out of Lafitte.
Wow. Where the competition is fierce.
Yeah. And he was good at what he did. You know, I mean, he's still good at what he does.
Well, I told you I was a guide for 17 years, but man, there wasn't the competition up there. We didn't have, 50 outfitters going out of one harbor, no, just like 3 or 4. So quite competition down here.
Pete actually had some input on the salty crack. I actually, when I was making salty crack, I actually he's my cousin, right? So
Yeah.
I contacted him when I was making salty crack just to get a little input from him, because, at the time I just had bass crack. Bass crack was the one I was playing with. And then when we decided that, when Deborah said, "Hey, babe," she said, "Why don't you start trying to sell your stuff?" And I was like, "Well, I fish tournaments." And then finally she talked me into, "Hey, we're going to go ahead and start selling, and market it." So when I did that, I was like, you know what? I really need to come out with a saltwater one for down here. So I started working on it, saying, coming up with something. And then I called Pete, and I had got some input from him, and next thing you know, we came out with salty crack, but he had input on that too.
Well, that's awesome, man. That is totally, well, that's how it works. That's how it works.
I'm going to tell you, Crush It Gel, we wouldn't be anything, to be honest with you, if it wasn't for friends. I've had a lot of friends, and even when I make stuff, right, I don't want to sell it, right, at first. I'm not selling anything. It goes out to all my friends, and all my friends know I make stuff when I make scent, right? So all my good friends that I know that fish big tournaments and that I trust, I send they all get it, right? And I say, "Can y'all start using this? Let me know what you think. Let me know maybe what can be changed in it or what," right? And it goes out. And I might go out for 6-7 months before we even decide to do anything. It's in the field trials with people that I trust that fish and fish hard. And actually, it makes a lot of money.
That's called market research, what you're doing right there.
Yeah. So when we put something out to sell on the market, it's something that's
send it to your friends
and it works.
Give your input. So you live down in Raceland right now. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your bass fishing down in South Louisiana?
So, well, I eventually moved from Lafitte, and I ended up moving all the way to Luling, right? And man, I got to start learning Lake Cotahuachi back in the heyday. This is like 2004 on, when they first started building the Davis Pond diversion, which, man, that probably became one of the best fisheries. It was one of the best fisheries in the country at one time, right? And, I started playing with my scents way back then, like I said, I didn't call it Crush It Gel back then. It was just something I made, it was bass crack, the one I was fooling with. I remember we fished, it was the Andelsack tournament. I think it was 2008. I made a run from Bayou Black all the way to Cotahuachi. It's like 70, 71 or 76 miles one way. And we ran from Bayou Black to Cotahuachi, put 20 pounds in the boat, and probably 3 hours. First 3 hours, we had 20 pounds in the boat.
You didn't have much more than 3 hours to fish, did you?
Yeah. Well, I had a fast boat. It took me an hour to get there. It was an hour ride there and back. 2 hours. I had 8 hours of fish, so I had 6 hours of fishing. But
okay.
That's when I first got on the Blazer team. Well, yeah, I really got on a pro staff with Blazer at that time of 2006. But yeah, man, that was my first big tournament. It was the Andelsack tournament. It was over 160 plus boats in that tournament. And that gel helped us win.
There you go.
And for some reason, man, it would catch big fish. Big fish, for some reason, would be attracted to it. I can't explain it, but hey, I wasn't going to complain about it. And
let me ask. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I'm good. Go ahead.
Okay. I'd like to ask you a few questions about this. Okay. I haven't used really, man, the last time I used scent was a long time ago. And your scent is not a spray type. It's more of It's more of a gel, kind of like.
It's a gel. That's right. It
So,
stays on.
so can you use this on crankbaits?
Yes, you can. And we do. I have one. That's what I come up with shad crack. And
Sure.
shad crack was really designed for crankbaits, jerk baits, right? But
Okay.
it works well on anything. It still sticks to plastics, you know.
Okay. Because that's what I want to use it on, is those soft plastics, man. I want to get up there on Sam Rayburn and just put that the whole way down.
Uh-oh, a swim bait, I'm telling you right
10 inch.
now.
Well, a 10-inch, actually, a 10-inch ribbon tail.
Yeah. So when we finally decided to sell Crusher Gel, right?
Yeah,
So I needed a way to market it and to get out. I didn't know anybody, right? And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even
sure.
know much about YouTube back last year. I
Sure.
didn't know anything about it. I just started playing with this in February with YouTube. So we had YouTube and I watched YouTube videos, but I've never done a YouTube video, right?
Sure.
And my wife and I mean, a lot of people don't like him, but I have no problem with Randy Bluckett.
Sure.
So my wife sent Randy Bluckett an email and he answered. And she said, hey, we make this scent. If we send you some, could you try it and just let us know what you think about it? We're not asking you to do nothing about it, but can you just try it and give us some feedback on it, right? Man, Randy Bluckett came back and did a whole video on it,
Yeah.
right? And dude, when he came out with that video, I'm gonna tell you right now, sales just went crazy. I'm talking crazy, and he didn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? He did
Yeah.
not have to do what he did.
No, he
So
did. Your cousin just said that it works great on the baby 1- for redfish. I love the baby 1-. I was just talking about that with Richard Ziegler last week about the baby 1-, how he loves the baby 1- for redfish. The only thing I don't like about the baby 1- for redfish, when a redfish takes it, he gets that all the way down to his crushers.
yes, and
And
man, trying to get him out,
you
I
gotta
can't
have,
stand catching him on a crankbait.
you ain't getting them out with this.
No, it's hard.
That's
And Jay, what a lot of people don't understand about saltwater fish hunt based mainly off of scent,
yes,
right? They hunt off of scent more than a bass does, right? A redfish and a trout. They work off of scent. And I try to explain a lot of that to a lot of the saltwater fishermen, but man, it's been hard to get them. They starting to convert and come over now, but it's been
yeah,
slow getting them to try it,
of course, yeah. Well, I've always caught fish. Here's what they're thinking. Oh, I have something in here. Yeah, there's something. I've always caught fish using this. Why would I want to use anything else?
My thing is, I always try to tell people, you're going to spend. Some guys spend $100 or more just on live shrimp, right?
And at least twice that on gas. Yeah.
That's right. You can buy a tube of Crusher Gel for $8
Yep.
and get the same results. And we've done it many a times. My cousin and I, we have a video out. You can look. We had a boat on side of us fishing with live shrimp. We're catching. They're not catching. And the lady even said, hey, what are y'all throwing? And we said, plastics. And they said, we can't get a bite. So I even tell them, I said, come on over. I said, I'm going to give you something. Try this out. Put it on some plastics. And next thing you know, they did it. He throws out a first cast, and you hear the lady go, oh, my God, I got a bite. It's on video.
Here. Okay. I have an idea for you for marketing. Go out there, use live shrimp, and have your partner also using live shrimp, but you put Crush It Gel on your live shrimp.
Put on my live shrimp. Yeah.
Yes. Let's see if we can improve on nature, dude.
And it's not a miracle scent or anything. There's times when just no matter what you do, fish just ain't biting, right?
Of
There
course.
ain't, you know,
It's the natural world, man. We're not playing video games here.
you know.
Exactly.
But what I've learned that crusher gel, it could take an okay day where they just biting and they nipping at it, and it could turn it into a great day, you know. Or on a bad day, it can get you, if you're bass fishing, it could get you that 1, 2, 3 extra bites that you need, you know.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
that's what it's for.
Well,
And
you brought up a good point there. There is no magic bullet. There's no such thing. But anything that can give you an edge is a good thing.
yes, I mean, we were in Cotahuachi a couple weeks ago, right? And we have boats all around us. They're not catching, and it's in the video. You can see them. And next thing you know, they're not catching. Next thing you know, it's Deborah and I's the last one left, and we're doubling up on them. We're just throwing a swim bait. Dude. We throwing swim baits with shad crag on it, and we're doubling up on fish. And they didn't catch nothing. They were leaving because they weren't catching. And, you know, I have videos out there to back up everything that we say.
Oh, I believe you, man. Hey, man, just Eddie Carper and Roy Widgeon. Eddie Carper, pro bass fisherman. Welcome, Eddie. Thank you very much. He said Crushed Gel is the very best fish attraction on the market today. And, of course, Roy, my great friend from USA Kayak Fishing Magazine, said hello, fellas.
How you doing?
Eddie, thank you for tuning in, man. I'm honored that you came and watched my podcast.
Eddie Carper is awesome. He's awesome. You know, when we first started coming out, I saw Eddie. I didn't even know who Eddie was, right? But I did see him on Facebook or a few. I might have been on one of the bass sites, whatever, right? I messaged him and I asked him. I said, "Hey, man, would you be willing to try this out? I'll send you some." And Eddie was like, "Yeah, send me some." So we sent him every cent we had, right? No flint, no try. I just wanted him to try it. And Eddie ended up going through some hard times after. And he didn't get a chance to use it at the time. And then next thing you know, I wrote Eddie off. I was like, well, I guess, he didn't like it or whatever. Yeah. But then he calls me, and he says, "Hey, man, look, I haven't forgot about you." He said, "I just went through some rough times, but I'm back working. I'm going to start fishing. I'm going to go try your gel out, And he went and tried it, and he called me up. He said, "Man, you got something here." He said, "It works." So next thing you know, me and Eddie from there became good friends.
We have a question from the audience. It's from Steve Kisser. He said, "I would like to buy some. Where is it sold?"
Well, we sell in several stores. We have Z's Tackle. You can look at Z's Tackle and they sell online. All right. I have 2 stores in Louisiana. They both sell online. One is Swampland Tackle. Then we have Z's Tackle, which is in Lutcher, Louisiana. Just let me know, Swampland is in Lafayette, Louisiana, and Z's Tackle is in Lutcher, Louisiana. Or you can contact us. And you want to buy from us, you can buy straight from us. You can go to crushitgelbasscrack.com and send us a message, and we'll get with you.
And Steve, that's right there at the bottom left of the screen. crushitgelbasscrack.com. And thank you very much for your question.
Oh, and eBay. I forgot. We got an eBay store.
Really?
On eBay, Crush It Gel on eBay.
That's cool. So there's all kinds of ways that you guys can buy us. And that was a great question, Steve. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up.
We have several stores here that sell it, in Louisiana.
Roy Widgeon said, "Sent me some." He's being funny. Thank you for that comment, Roy. Okay, so, boy, I have, not everybody's used scent, and I have never used a gel scent. So, okay, let me see if I have. Oh, man, I got to have things. Yeah, I have all kinds of stuff around here. So,
hold on a second. I got a tube, and I'll show you. I'll be right back.
I think he knew where I was going with this. I think he knew where I was going with this, man. I want him to show me how he would put this on some soft plastics the correct way, because most of the time I get this stuff, and particularly when I was young, when I never had any instruction in this.
So this is the blue one. All right. This is called salty crab, right? It's blue.
Sure.
This is the red one, but this is craw crab, right? This one is bass crack. The green one is bass crack.
Okay.
And the white clear one, this is the shad crack, right? This is a shad scent. The green one is a garlic scent. All right.
Ooh, garlic. Yeah.
Yeah. And the craw is a craw scent.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the blue one. The blue one is salty crab. So the blue one this is a shellfish, but it also has menhaden in it.
Ooh.
Right? But I gotta let y'all know something. There's more to it than just that.
Sure.
Right? There's more to it than just scent in here.
Oh yeah, you got to have something that's going to be an adhesive.
No. There's other things in here that cause fish to strike.
Proprietary secrets. Yeah. Proprietary secrets.
Yeah, there's more to it than that. Okay, this is
what I'd like you
years in the making.
So Roy brought up a good point. That stuff that's ribbed like this is going to hold scent better, correct?
That's right. Rib baits hold scent better, a lot better. So you see the end, it's got it's going a little 45 on the end.
You're gonna have to put it like right up, put it right up there.
You would just put it right up, squeeze a little,
so that people can see it.
You just put it up and you just squeeze a little tiny bit. It doesn't take
just a little bit, huh?
Just a little bit. That's it. And you just
a little dab will do you.
A little dab goes a long ways, and that's it. You rub it on. Now, so the colder the water temps are, the longer it lasts. So in the summertime, when we got 90-degree water temps, right?
95-degree water temps, it's going to last for 3 minutes.
Yeah. And when it's 90 degrees, you're going to get maybe 10 casts, right? But I'm going to tell you right now, once our water temperatures start dipping into the 70s and 60s and 50s, we're looking at 30 plus casts that is staying. That's what we counted. Now, as you're catching fish, right, and you're touching the bait and you're taking it off, now you'll start, kind of wiping it off with your hands or whatever, right? The more fish you catch, the more you touch the bait, then it'll come off. But I'm just saying, wintertime, 30 casts, maybe more. Unlike sprayed stuff.
You guys up north, one spray, one cast.
One spray, one cast.
Spray,
That's
one cast. Yeah.
Coming up with this.
One spray, one cast. That was how the traditional stuff worked way back when. In fact, I even remember an uncle of mine swearing by WD-40. Just spray that on your lure, you catch more fish.
You're kind of messing up the environment, maybe.
No more than the barges that go up and down the river we fished. Huh.
Yeah.
But Eddie Carpenter said the moment I was sold on Crushed Gel product was when I was looking at a school of bass on active target that I had fished for some time and they wouldn't bite. I remember that I had the gel and dabbed a little on my bait and dropped the bait back into the school and immediately it got bit. Not only did I get bit, but I caught the whole school of bass. That has happened multiple times this summer. And I'm convinced that if I put my bait near a bass with the gel on it, it's going to bite. Thank you, Eddie. That was Eddie Carper, your buddy.
Thank you, Eddie.
That's quite an endorsement. That is quite an endorsement, man.
And guys, for y'all, people that don't know Eddie Carper is a pro. Okay? Eddie Carper's not, he's not just anybody. Eddie Carper is a pro bass fisherman, right? Eddie Carper fishes MPFL. Eddie Carper fishes $5,000 tournaments that he's got to put up money on.
Well, he's not going to be able to use that active target anymore then.
Eddie Carper don't need that.
Oh, no, but that's just what he said. It was a joke because the MPFL isn't going to allow active target. It isn't going to allow forward-facing sonar anymore. But I don't want to talk about controversy, so.
Yeah, but he don't need it. That's the thing about him. He's a good fisherman.
I've never heard anything bad said about him, and I talk to bass fishermen every single day on the phone. So yeah, I believe you. And also, he has Rob Welch's endorsement, and that's enough for me.
Yeah,
But
and we're new, right? We're a new company, whatever, right? We just come out. I've been around. Like I said, I've been making my stuff for a long time, but we just started selling. It was last, I think, June, July or so that we decided we were going to do it. And what happened was I ended up having to have surgery, right? So
sure,
I was out of the fishing. I was knocked out of the fishing industry for a while.
yep,
I had surgery in July. I couldn't fish till February.
been
So
there,
I
done
had
that.
no, my plan was to start fishing. I was going to start doing YouTube to try to market our stuff. That was the plan. Well, I couldn't. So, man, I had to start thinking. We had to start thinking what we're going to do. So that was the Randy Bucket was one, right? Then I started looking around for other people that could help. So I started looking at YouTube channels throughout Southeast Louisiana, right? Trying to find, and then I found a guy, his name was Tendrick Cooper, Big 50 Fishing. He's out of Denham Springs area, right? And I
Really,
contacted him.
what
And
is that called again?
his YouTube channel is Big 50 Fishing. His name is Tendrick Cooper.
Big
And
fish fishing. Okay, thank you.
yeah, so I contacted Tendrick, never met him. And I explained to him what was going on. And you know what he said? Hey, Mr. Tad, I would like to come ride to your house and talk with you, right? And he drove all the way to my house from over there, all the way to Raceland. And when we started talking and I explained to him what happened to me, and I couldn't do nothing. And he was like, Mr. Tad, I'll be so happy to help y'all out. And let me tell you something. He's another one. Big 50. Tendrick Cooper's been with us from day one now, right? Helping us out. And he's another good fisherman, and he's got a YouTube channel. He's another great guy. I'm Crushing Gel. We wouldn't be where we at if it wasn't for people like Tendrick and other friends. I had a lot. I got a list of people, man, that's helping us. That they believe in the stuff. And before I even told Tendrick to help you, I asked him. I said, just go try it first, right? You don't have to say,
Sure.
yeah, try it. And
Okay,
we have a couple
of questions. We have a couple questions here. Number one, Roy said, "How will this gel benefit kayak anglers?" Roy publishes a kayak magazine. That's why he's asking.
The same way it's going to help anybody. I'm buying a bass boat. It's going to help you get bites, no matter what. That's what it's there for. It don't matter if you're bank fishing, you're fishing out of a kayak, a bass boat, or a bay boat. If you put it there where a fish is at, it's going to help you get a bite.
And also, Roy,
it doesn't discriminate.
But it doesn't take up much space either,
No,
so kayak fishermen, space is the biggest issue they have. So,
put it in your pocket.
Man, look at how small that is. Show Roy how small that thing is.
That's it, Roy. You put that in your pocket, top pocket. That's where I put a lot of my stuff at, Or you can sit between your legs. I'm sure you can find a little spot for it.
Pocket Power Gel is what Roy said about that. Pocket Power Gel. He's sold on this, man. He publishes a magazine, so that's going to be a powerful marketing tool for you.
My wife has got her biggest bass so far came on Bass Crack, which was $7.90 something.
Ooh, giant,
yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Eddie just said if the gel gets you one extra bite in a day's time, it's already paid for itself, and I agree, Eddie. I couldn't agree with you more, man. If it gets you one more bite, and I don't care if you're fishing the Elite Series or if you're the guy standing on the bank who just gets to fish twice a year because he works so much.
And Jay, this is what I tell a lot of people. People ask me, what gel should I buy? And I don't want to sound like I'm telling you got to buy 3 because I want you to buy them. But when I'm fishing, I use all 3 because I let the fish tell me what they want. Some days they want Bass Crack, but you can go right back the next day. They don't want to touch Bass Crack, and then you start putting Craw Crack on. You see, they don't want to bite Craw Crack. The next thing you know, you put Shad Crack on. Next thing you know, boom, you're getting bit. I mean, that's how I tell people. I said, you got to have all three because some days they don't want the one you was using the day before. You got to swap over to the other scent. I can't explain it, dude, but that's just how they've been playing, how they've been doing. Lately, we've been dominating with shad crack, but the month before that, it was craw crack, and we're fishing in the same spot.
That's yes, fish is well, just like with people, I love to eat pizza. I'm from Chicago, but I don't want to eat pizza every day.
Yeah. And I will say this. I find bass crack works really well starting January, February. Bass crack was on fire last January, February, March. It was on fire. And as the winter months, we start rolling into the summer months, that's when shad crack and craw crack started kicking it, But if you think about it, crawfish, that's when we start running, right? Our crawfish start running in the spring, right?
When they start coming out of their holes.
Yeah.
And Roy has another joke. He said, if you mix all three together, you catch goldfish. Boy, I haven't had humor on this show for a long time. That's really good, Roy. Thank you. That is funny. So, once again, if you got something this small, sometimes I have to go to something this small. That's only a 2.5 inch.
Yeah.
Swim bait. One of my favorite colors right there. One of my favorite colors. So you just put a little dab on that right around the front.
Spread it around.
And spread it around. Spread it around with your fingers.
Yeah, I don't even touch it. I just use the tube. I put a little bit.
Okay.
And that's it. You spread it with the tube. Don't touch. You don't have to touch it with your fingers. Now, I will say this. If you get it on your hand, it will be a little slippery, right? So I always keep a rag, Once I put it on, I keep a rag on my side. I wipe my hands off good, and you good to go.
Better.
It will not stain your carpet.
Okay.
If you have a bass boat and you're worrying about it staining the carpet, it does not stain the carpet. If it gets on the carpet, you'll see me all the time on the front of my boat. I got my bait laying on the carpet and I'm putting it on, right? I come home and I come wash my carpet off. I hit it with the pressure wash, or you go to the car, hit the pressure wash, it comes right off.
There you go. There you go. But shad crack, I'm sure, if you get that on your fingers, it's going to stink for days, isn't it?
It's not that bad.
Really? Okay.
The salty crack could be a little stinky sometimes, but even that one, that shellfish can be a little. Sometimes when I'm making it, my wife wants to puke.
Yeah,
but it's not that bad though. She just, once you add the menhaden in with it, because it's got menhaden and shellfish together, right? Sure. Once you add that, it calms it down.
Okay. Well, that's great. So do you ever use your freshwater scents like shad crack in the ocean?
Yes, shad crack works well for redfish. Remember how you got that video where I caught 161 reds?
Yes.
I told you about? That's on shad crack. So what happened was we were fishing and I caught a red, right? A couple of reds. I was throwing a chatterbait, and then I caught a red, right? We were bass fishing, but we weren't catching nothing. And I pulled up to this little shell pile that I knew about in the Cotahuasi. Next thing you know, I catch a red, boom. And then I throw out there, I catch another one. And they started puking shad up, right? Sure. So then I said, let me throw this swim bait out there. So I threw a swim bait out there. I threw 4 casts, and then I caught one. And then I threw out again for a while. I got a couple hits, but they weren't taking it, So I said, shoot, let me try this shad crack out. Let me tell you, I put shad crack on. As soon as it hit the water, I didn't even get a chance to engage the reel. They were on. And after that, it was every cast when we put the shad crack on.
Wow. So Pete just said if you're single, the bass crack works really well if you want to attract a date.
And bass crack, I'm going to tell you right now, I use Delta lures, the chatterbait, the thunder jigs, bass crack, and a thunder jig with a swim bait on it. It's a deadly combination, especially come January, February, March. And you'll see my videos. I'm using bass crack with a 3/8 ounce thunder jig with with I normally use like a 3¼ inch swim bait on it. I use a H2O swimmer, right, on it. And it's the rib swim bait like you're talking about. And buddy, let me tell you, catch a lot of big fish like that. And I mean, they just, for some reason, dude, that combo is dangerous. We catch a lot of fish. But I found that's when bass crack starts working best.
Eddie Carper just said that a bass's diet changes daily. I find that with largemouth, it's mainly shad until the water temperature hits 48 degrees. Then they will transition to crawfish, and as they come shallow, up till the spawn at 58 to 65 degrees. After the females leave the beds, they will focus again on shad or whatever the dominant bait fish is for the rest of the year.
Yeah. And that's how I was telling you. This seemed to work best, you know, that and craw crack, you know. But I've become a big fan of bass crack in the wintertime, you know, because I love throwing that chatterbait. That's one of my favorite tools. That's one of my favorite tools right there, is a chatterbait when it's cold.
There is a guy who fishes the Elite Series, and that's practically all he uses. The guy's name is Brock Mosley. He uses a chatterbait with a Gary Yamamoto baits Zako. Man, if you put some of that bass crack on a Zako, you know,
he probably sees some difference. You might catch a few more fish if you give it a shot, you know.
Brock Mosley from Mississippi,
you know,
actually.
Before Eddie had contacted us again, I actually tried to get in. We sent Chris Zaldane a message, right? But yes, he told me he couldn't deal with us because he was already under our contract. But then Eddie ended up calling us back, so I feel like I got somebody just as good or maybe even better than Zaldane.
Just from the little I've seen about Eddie, he's going to give you a more personal approach than some of those guys.
And, you know, I like Eddie. I can call Eddie anytime, send him a message anytime. Doesn't matter. And Eddie responds or answers the phone or whatever, you know. If I got issues, I could just call Eddie and talk to him about it.
Roy Widgeon, I'm going to talk to you about that after. Remind me to talk to you about Roy Widgeon after the show.
Yeah. And
anyways, speaking of that, it's like 38 after the hour. Do you have any shout outs you'd like to do? Any thank yous to anybody who's helped you along the way?
I have a list of people I love to give a shout out to, man. I mean, people that, you know, the guys that helped us, you know, get where we at. And like I said, the first one was Tendrick Cooper, aka Big 50 Fish.
Actually, Tendrick just said it's a game changer for sure. So Tendrick is listening.
I have Christian Reserve. He's on the LSUS fishing team. Christian, also another guy that's really helped us out. I got Corey Bourgeois from Homer. Corey's got a couple 10-pounders on our stuff, right? He's going to Bussy Break and tried it out. His first time trying it out, he got it with the Bussy Break, and he sent us some pictures back. That was wow. Fred King of Delta Lures. Fred King is one of my friends. So he's one of the guys that, you know, when I was making my stuff, I'd give it to him. He would try it. And like I said, Delta Lures and Crush Your Gel, they make a deadly combination if you put them together. Steve Rockweiler. I don't know if you know who Steve Rockweiler. Steve Rockweiler is a legend down here in the zone.
Yeah.
Steve Rockweiler is another guy that's also somebody I really look forward up to. And when I needed something to try, and I called Steve. I say, Steve, will you try this and let me know what you think? Next thing you know, Steve did the same thing. He went to Bussy Break and sent us pictures. It was after a cold front. He was the only one that caught fish. He said, dude, I'm the only one that caught fish, and I was using your gel. It works great. I got Midwest Thin Blue Line Fishing, Charles Weldon, another guy, you know, he's been helping us out. You know, I got Stevie Brave, the Brave Angler. If you look him up on YouTube, Stevie Brave, the Brave Angler on YouTube. He's another person that's been helping us out, you know, promoting the product, and he's using it and having really good success. Chris Blakey, he's just somebody that we sent stuff to, and he's been promoting our stuff for doing a good job. I got Pop Fishing YouTube channel. His name is Scott Evington. Pop's an older guy. He fishes. He's been helping us out. I got another one. Now, this is one of my pro staff guys. His name is Joshua Adam Wade. Remember his name? We'll talk about him later. I'll let you know. He's a good guy. He's great. And Cameron Beasley of Tanker Lures. Now, Tanker Lures is doing something, going one step ahead of everybody else. Tanker Lures is infusing his plastics with Crush It gel.
There you go. That's a good idea.
Yeah, he's infusing his crawfish with craw crack, and he's infusing his Senkos with bass crack or shad crack. And like I was using that in Gunnersville last year, and I'm gonna tell you what, it's something that works great. Pete Cheshire, my cousin. I gotta bring props out to Pete because he's out there doing his job. He's promoting for us, and he's fishing with it. He takes people fishing, and you're gonna meet him soon. Rick Bailey is Saltwater Madness. Rick Bailey is another. He has a YouTube channel also, Saltwater Madness. He's been using our stuff, and man, look, most of all, Randy Bluckett. I have to thank Randy. We owe Randy Bluckett. Like I said, a lot of people may not agree with him, and I don't agree with everything Randy Bluckett says, but thank you, Randy. I just got to tell you that. I know you don't even really know us, but thank you. And that's,
Well, that's great. That's great, Tad. Roy Widgeon has one last question, and then we're going to end the show. He says, do you have any kayak pro staff?
I do not.
Okay.
Look us up, Roy, and maybe you want, send me a message on Messenger or something like that, and we can talk.
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk to you about that after the show. But anyways, man, you know what, Tad? Thank you so much. I know that you're working a lot right now. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on the show and talk about Crush It Gel, man. I really enjoyed talking to you. It was a very informative podcast we just did here.
Well, I appreciate you having me on, man. It was fun.
Well, this isn't the last time, Tad. This isn't the last time, and I am going to take, just like I told you on the phone, don't invite me to go fishing unless you want me showing up, because I'm going to.
Well, we're coming, and Pete Cheshire's the one you're going with.
Oh man, it'll be nice to meet him. And you did hear that Tendrick did show up.
Yeah,
He said it's a game changer for sure. You must have some in your boat: bass crack, shad crack, and craw crack.
Yeah.
So he did show up. And thank you very much. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning into the Let's Talk Fishing podcast. Man, I had a great time talking to you, Ted. And please stick around for a couple. I'm going to end the podcast with that. Stick around. I'd like to talk to you afterwards. And guys, it's Wednesday night. No, actually, am I screwed up? Is it Wednesday? No, it's Wednesday night.
No, it is Wednesday. Yep.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
this time of the year, I work so hard, man. I sometimes I don't even know what day it is anymore. But anyways, thank you. You guys, it's Wednesday night. Make your plans. Go fishing this weekend. You only get to do this once, guys. And Eddie Carper, last thing we're going to talk about, Crush It Gel tournament on Gunthersville. That's what Eddie said again. So
yeah.
Thank you very much, guys. With that, I'm going to end the podcast. And please stick around.